Luckily, the Patriots go 1-1 and we do not fall to the Miami Dolphins. We get our first win since 2019 in South Florida. It feels good, especially I live in South Florida, so I know how it is when you lose to the Dolphins. It's good to beat them, man. It's good. I don't have to walk around, have to hear all the bullshit. And we never win in Miami, even when we had Tom. So this has nothing to do with the quarterback, the scheme, anything like that. We're just notorious for losing in Miami for whatever reason. Maybe it's the heat and humidity. Luckily, we're not doing it later on in the season to come from that December cold up north to come down to that Miami weather in December. Luckily, we're doing it earlier on in the season, and we've been able to grab that dub in the division. Those rivalry games are very, very fickle. You never know how these teams are going to match up, especially with a new coach and quarterback. Whole organization flip over in New England. Now, in Miami, they're having to deal with their own possibility of dealing with that soon, but let's go ahead and go over how I feel, how our team did with the staff, the coaching, down to the offensive line and the defense and the special teams. So I'm just going to give a quick synopsis of everything that I'm going to go ahead and talk about and go ahead and let you know what I think of us moving on into week 3. To start, Mike Vrabel, I think you did tremendous. You stayed by your guys' sides. You gave the kicker another opportunity. You made sure you were there when they were going to fall, and you were able to help them get over the hump. Now, you were mentioning in post-game how in practice there were some plays that necessarily helped get over that hump of everyone feeling down and not having that confidence. And it was Trevion Henderson with the same play in practice that Ramondre Stevenson with that wheel, that out route to the sideline, and he caught that. Trevion caught that in practice, and it completely flipped the momentum in practice. It just so happens that Ramondre Stevenson got that opportunity in the game, and it happened to be the same play that flipped our momentum and took us over that hump and continued to get the win. So with that being said, it's always good to see that Mike knows where this team is now and where it can be, and he's very much nurturing this team to get us where we should be able to go with the nucleus, the organization, and the coaching staff that we have in place. Josh McDaniels, I think you called a tremendous game. Maybe a little more passing on my end. I know everyone's not perfect. I was just saying how you need to run the ball more. Then you run the ball more than you did passing. You're never going to have everyone happy. Now, I still think that it was a tremendous game plan, and you showed up and showed out. You had both of the running backs have 10 carries. Trevion almost had 10 carries. Drake had 10, and Ramondre had 11. It was still a tremendous game plan because Drake only ran when it was needed. It wasn't necessarily always a designed run. It wasn't him, I've got to get out because I feel scared and I need to get away. None of that. It was calculated running out of the pocket. It was calculated getting out of bounds. It was calculated to slide. It was calculated. Everything was where I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to get the yardage and I'm going to get out of bounds and make sure my team can move down the field. None of it was negative. None of it was bad. I would say the only times that were rough were when we continued to have a tight end on a pass rusher, which, don't get me wrong, Hunter Henry held his own a couple of times, but that's not necessarily viable. And then there were a couple of times where we had Trevion Henderson in pass protection, and I was praising his pass protection coming into the league, hell, even last week, and how I needed to see more of him get those opportunities. It didn't show up for him. He got the opportunities, he just couldn't make anything out of them. And I think a lot of the outcry online is bullshit. Trevion Henderson had opportunities. He also had a lot of flags, which we will get into later on. But if you're going to have I think almost 3 flags, 3 penalties in mostly pass protection this game, then of course you're not going to get those passing downs and those other opportunities that Ramondre ended up eating on and getting that deep play down the field. Now, those are momentum changers, and those are massive for us on this offense. Antonio Gibson on the special teams kickoff return was major. I think we all know that we needed that, especially after Washington got the punt return. Then we're going to have Trevion Henderson have some penalties. That's not good. That was the only downside to his game, is the pass protection penalties that definitely ruined our momentum and our flow of offense. Then Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre, you fucking cooked. We love you. We love the opportunities you're getting and making sure you absolutely capitalize on them, because that's what we need. That's what this offense needs, especially in those moments where we need that spark plug. And if the other guys can't give it to us, we need one of them, one of those three. They're a three-headed monster back there, and we need to feed them. Josh McDaniels understands that. And to have a power back like Mondre not be able to be on the sideline because he could play every single down, literally, and we don't have where, like, let's say, for instance, when we had LeGarrette Blount in the past, or such a power back where you knew what was going to happen, whether you could stop it or not is on you. But the versatility that Mondre gives us and the ability to capitalize on that, because sometimes it's very telling if a player's in, then okay, they're going to run. Okay, they're going to pass, right? Those really allow the defense to choreograph and know and predetermine things, right? They're going to predetermine the flow of the game. But if you have somebody like Ramondre Stevenson who can do just like everyone else can, or if you have everyone that's able to do every skill set that your offense provides, right? Then you don't have all of those wrinkles and things that might trip up or flag a defense to know what the offense is running. So having Ramondre Stevenson go in there and be in every down back like that, game changer. Not to mention having Trevion Henderson to learn from him, because one bad game is never going to define his career. One good game is never going to define his career. There's never going to be one and done. That's never going to happen in the NFL, right? You're going to have opportunities if you're a higher pick, and you get to showcase whether you deserve to get more opportunities. And obviously, we're not throwing away Trevion Henderson, but the amount of people that were upset that we didn't see more of him need to understand the penalties are why. And those that are saying he's a bust, they're way ahead of the game, because the kid's very talented. It's just this offense, not many people understand how difficult and tricky this offense is. So which leads me to Drake Maye. To be able to go from 30 completions on 46 attempts, and what was this game? 23 attempts on 19 completions. This is one of those things that people are not talking about enough. This kid is week 2 in one of the most complicated offenses of all time. There's a reason Chad Johnson didn't play for the New England Patriots for much and saw one play in the Super Bowl. It's because he couldn't grasp the offense, right? This offense is very complicated, and there's many people that cannot fit in a Josh McDaniels offense. And trust me when I say this, I've been watching the Patriots for a long fucking time. There's not many that can do what Drake Maye has been able to do with this offense. And when I say that this kid is special, you need to understand that one bad game is not going to determine the rest of his career, and these 2 games aren't either. This is based on him moving forward. If you already have the grasp to this level, this kid's going to do wonders. This kid's going to be a star player in this league for years to come. To be able to grasp this offense and be able to do what he's been able to do and command it the way he's been able to in only these 2 weeks, that shows me more than I need to know, because not many people have even been able to do what he's done other than Tom at this, even 2 weeks. I'm not even fucking with you, right? This now has nothing to do with me being a Patriots fan and a homer. Drake Maye is going to be special, especially in a Josh McDaniels offense with new wrinkles and mobility from the quarterback position Tom did not have. This is going to be fun as a Patriots fan. It doesn't mean we're going to win a Super Bowl this year, but you better buckle up, because New England, we're back. We're back for sure. I've already talked about the 3-headed monster or Gibson, Henderson, Mondre. We'll put them aside. We need to talk about this 2 tight end set. This 2 tight end set is amazing. Obviously, they don't have the same skill set of a Gronk, of a Hernandez, right? That's not where I'm going with it. But at least we have really good blockers and very much veteran talent for Drake Maye to use as a safety blanket if those receivers are not open. And those receivers have been fucking cooking, right? Keyshawn Boutte, Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins. Bro, that alone. And then Ramondre Stevenson was our leading fucking receiver. Austin Hooper, Hunter Henry. He threw to 10 different receivers last week and 9 this week. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That he grasped this offense better than I've seen a lot of fucking quarterbacks grasp a more simpler offense. You go look at these 1 and 2 year vets, and some of them are not performing to this level at all. And Drake Maye's been having this offense since offseason. Keep that in mind. It's not that he had this last year and look, he's having a sophomore he's blowing up. No, this is his first time in a new complicated offense that was ran in the same place by the same person who he's trying to emulate. There you go. Emulate Tom Brady and do his own thing. You're talking about a big fucking, you're looking at a big task to be able to prove to the New England Patriots fans that you can be the next Tom and to figure this out. And by being the next Tom, I'm talking about playing close to the bar in which he set so fucking high. Because all of these fans are expecting that, if not more, which is very, very hard to live up to. But I think Drake is that talented. I really do think that. Now with the the offensive line, Moses, 3 offensive penalties, all false starts. And then Campbell, apparently his wasn't even on a false start because Vrabel backed him up. He said he was pointing to somebody to indicate, but then the ref called it on him. So there is that. Whether you buy into it, whatever, Vrabel said it. But Moses talking about Will Campbell coming up to him, letting him know, hey, shit happens, move on, right? That leadership that Moses showed him in week 1 after he had those 2 false starts and getting those penalties. Then he showed it in return. They're all on the same page, bro. They all want to see each other win, and that is great to fucking hear as a fan. We love to hear that. The offensive line, they could have played better. When can they not? 3 sacks, not ideal. But most of the time when I'm saying that is what I mentioned earlier. Tight ends and the backers were catching up on the protection. Or I don't know why they weren't chipping more. And they were using him in full protection for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But obviously they need to shy away from that. And I wouldn't blame the offensive line on that type of sack, because that's not really on the offensive line, in my opinion. That's on the scheme and the play call. And why are we trusting a tight end and a backer one-on-one with a pass rusher? That makes no sense. Or if you see those opportunities, you got to get the ball out quicker. But 4 incompletions, no picks, a rushing touchdown, and 2 passing touchdowns. The dude played fucking tremendous. That's one of the best games that you could fucking put on outside of fucking going absolutely perfect, throwing for 700 yards. And you get what I'm saying? Like, he played very, very well. And I got to give it to Tua. Tua looked solid. He looked decent. But the moments they needed him most, he looked like fucking incompetent. He didn't even know what was going on. So, and good on Mike McDaniels to be able to change the play calling to kind of get him back into a groove. But that was, to me, one of our worst play calling halves in the first half. Like, that was just so bad. Everything was like cover 2. Everything was being cut, like eaten up. and it was horrid. Not a big fan of the first half with defensively. In the second half, we cleaned it up, got more pressure, and we're able to capitalize on bad football. But that's not something that you want to have to worry about. And then Milton and Harold Landry, they both showed up and showed out. Big free agent signings, both coming up with big plays when we need them most. I'm not saying obviously the stakes aren't the same, but it reminds me of Dante Hightower. Mr. February. When we needed him most, he got a strip sack. He got a stop. He fucking got it done, right? Just love that we paid these guys. I just love that they're showing up and showing out, and they're putting in the work. They're real leaders on that defense. Milton, you're a fucking beast. Barmore, you're a fucking beast. Landry, keep rushing, you fucking animal. We need to keep getting after the quarterback. And that's number one, especially with Gonzo coming back. Hopefully there's a chance him with the fucking matchup against Pittsburgh coming up, which we're going to need him. This is one of those games where if we win, this is really telling for our season. It's very, very good matchup to get a victory. Very much a confidence boost, especially going into the game against Carolina the week following. But we need to get a win in Pittsburgh. I believe it's in Pittsburgh. But this defense, we need Gonzo. If anything said that, it was this fucking week. Last week, yeah. But this week, even more. Because it was very much noticeable. And then Carlton Davis got hurt, which is never good. You never want your guys to get hurt. Number 21, Jalen, something like, I can't even think of the dude's name on our team. Let me think. Or let me look here. No, Mapu got the pick. Who's 21 though? Jalen Hawkins. There you go. He played pretty well. But overall, we need to clean up those fucking penalties. Those penalties, what we had like 11 penalties or some 10 penalties. It's fucking ridiculous, man. That's not good. The play calling, like I mentioned in the first half, I didn't like, but with Zach Kerr, whatever, him stepping in for Terrell Williams, I hope he's okay. I hope medically he's all right and everything is good there. But I didn't think he played the greatest first half, and the second half was a lot better. I'm gonna close with this. I couldn't tell you the last time that we scored 30 points. Literally. I had to look it up. And the last time we came close was at 29, and the time before that was 38 points. When we scored 29, it was October 22nd, 2023. When we scored 38 against the Browns, it was in October 16th, 2022 with Zach Bailey. Bailey Zappi. Oh my God. Zach Kerr, maybe Bailey Zappi. That was our quarterback when we scored 38. That was the last time we scored 30. Literally 2 years ago. I was thinking to myself, other than the preseason game, when's the last time we even scored 30? This alone should tell you that we finally have a quarterback. We finally have a scheme that works. We finally have good coaching and good leadership. And we finally have a team that gives a fuck about them and producing on the field for themselves and for us fans. Hopefully, we can continue to see the growth and progression of this team. And I think Mike Vrabel and Drake Maye, I think that they are the guys. They are the answer in the beginning of this new nucleus in New England. I really do. But I know I'm a big Patriots fan, and obviously you're probably not going to think the same. So let me know down below. Let me know where your decisions and opinions are for my New England Patriots and how we're going to do against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get ready to do some research and what I think that we need to clean up going into that Pittsburgh game, because the defense looked pretty fucking rough. Won't lie. And we're going to need all the points that we possibly can going into Pittsburgh. So see you again later. And I'm also going to drop probably top 10 quarterbacks of the week. Why not? I know you guys loved my controversial quarterbacks list. And week 1, Rodgers looked good. Now week 2, we don't. So we'll see. In week 3 and all the other top 10 quarterbacks performances of the week. So appreciate y'all and see you in the next one.